Well, folks, good morning, good afternoon, good evening for you all. Each one is in one place right now around the globe. And I'm here again. I'm Ulysses Araújo. I'm the president of the PANPBL Association of Problem-Based Learning and Active Learning Methodologies. And it's our pleasure to be here in the second day of this conference that I hope you are enjoying and learning, interacting, and whatever. And it is my pleasure to introduce you to my good friend, Renate Fruchter. Renate, I've known Renate for 11 years, since 2008, when we met at Stanford. And Renate, for I think over 25 years, is working not only with distance learning, but really with innovation in education and engineering and everything. I can say that Renate is my inspiring person to move ahead and to see where education is moving forward and to where it's going to in the process of reinventing. And I'm sure she's going to give a nice presentation about what she has been doing at Stanford in her PBL lab, which she's the director, and just that. So I want to just to greet and say hello to everyone and give the stage to Renate. And claps to Renate for those who can.
Thank you, Ulysses, for the kind introduction and invitation to PANPBL 2019. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you. It is a really great pleasure to be here in the TURF Immersive Virtual World and see that you are spending the Saturday with us. Before I begin, I would like to make a couple of acknowledgements. Ulysses, thank you for your entrepreneurship to organize PANPBL in TURF. Kudos to you. Ron and team, thank you for your generous support and attention to run PANPBL in TURF. We couldn't have done it without you. And to you, dear participants, congratulations for your curiosity and motivation to get out of your comfort zone to experience a conference in a new way, in an immersive environment. So, hello to you all. And now to my presentation. As Ulysses indicated, I'm the founding director of the PBL lab in the Civil and Environmental Engineering department in School of Engineering at Stanford. I launched the PBL and the Global Teamwork class in '93 and embarked on an amazing journey with a vision to engage students in cross-disciplinary, globally distributed PBL. So, in fact, since then, I have been teaching, studying, living, and breathing global teamwork. So, for today, I propose the following topics. I will cover some aspects related to why P5BL global teamwork. We'll talk about transformative impacts of tech-mediated PBL interaction experiences, and then close with some comments about where we go from here, at least in the PBL lab. And as you can see, I am trying to inspire you and demonstrate yet another way to use the great affordances and functionalities in Turf, as I'm going to use these 3 screens for my presentation. So, why P5BL? Well, because as we know, one of the best ways to learn is by doing. Also because, as Plutarch said, the learner is not a vessel to be filled, especially in many cases. The student's vessel is bottomless, so not much knowledge we are trying to push in sticks. And really light up the fire. My objective is actually to light up the fire and the passion for their future professions and remind them constantly that it is the question that enlightens, not the solution. Another key driver is really embedded in the university legacy system. If you remember yesterday's talk that Daniel shared with us, we have the beliefs, the systems, and the practices. So our universities have inherited a legacy system that is rooted in fragmentation and specialization organized by departments and disciplines. In our case, specifically, the students from architecture, engineering, and management that prepare to enter the design and construction industry never meet each other or have a PBL cross-disciplinary collaborative experience before they graduate. And if we overlay on top of that the way projects are run by phase, what we end up with is a series of knowledge islands, of operational knowledge islands that need to furiously exchange data, information, and models. And all this leads to poor coordination, poor collaboration, and poor communication. So with that in mind, we really can see that our students are not only the result of this fragmented and specialized systemic structure, but they are also learning and absorbing the tool sets, the skill sets, and the mindsets that the different disciplines, departments, and schools expose them to. So for us, and I'm not just talking about our PBL group, but for everyone who is an educator, a key question is, how do we tear down the walls of these islands of knowledge and help the students connect the dots? A third driver is the fact that the world does not come to us as neat discipline problems, but as complex discipline challenges, which we are aiming to prepare the students for. Not only that, but we also need to prepare our students for the global markets. And that leads to additional ongoing questions. How to support global learners and, in the future, knowledge workers to communicate, share ideas and feedback, make their local conditions visible, create, capture, share, and reuse knowledge. Basically, in a nutshell, to capitalize on core competencies to foster creativity and harvest knowledge. So to address these challenges, the PBL lab takes an integrated R&D and education strategy, where in fact the learners, the global teams, and their activities are in the center of attention. We continuously observe and articulate different questions related to their learning interaction experiences, activities, and environments that they need in order to have a richer learning experience. And we develop cutting-edge collaboration spaces, places, technologies, and processes and practices, which we then implement in practice in the global teamwork that I've been teaching since 1993 and in industry pilots. As a takeaway, I want to emphasize that this is a critical methodological approach, since the global teamwork class is a unique test bed. On one hand, to see situated learning theory in action, and on the other hand, it allows us to reimagine and implement novel learning interaction experiences and technologies. Also note on this diagram that this is an iterative process. So every year we integrate new knowledge, methods, and technologies from very diverse domains. Of course, yes, design, engineering, management, as well as human-computer interaction, artificial intelligence and machine learning, education theories, organization modeling, cognitive science, and lately, physiology and psychology, through wonderful partnerships with researchers from different departments, not just at Stanford, but worldwide. So, to give you a working definition of P5BL, from the get-go, it represents what we call problem, project, product, process, people-based learning experiences. And all these 5 Ps are critical for high-performance teamwork that we want our students to acquire. So our mission is to educate the next generation workforce to know how to team up with professionals from other disciplines, take advantage of the latest technologies and processes to address grand challenges as they design and build sustainable environments. More than that, our goal is to prepare our students to become lifelong learners, because none of us, no matter what school they go to, can teach them everything, and for sure not what is coming. So we hope that they will strive in a dynamic workplace where future jobs will change and evolve. None of us can predict what the future's jobs will look like in 5 to 10 years. So lifelong learning is an absolutely critical tool set, skill set, and mindset that we want them to walk away with. With that in mind, we bring together students, professors, and industry mentors from architecture, engineering, and management, construction management, life cycle financial management, from partner departments, schools, and universities in the US, in Europe, and in Asia. And all our students that are accepted into the global teamwork class every year are challenged to cross the chasms that represent the 5 typical discontinuities that a knowledge worker in the real world experiences in global teamwork. First, to work across disciplines, and that is non-trivial. What we want them to learn is to construct a dialogue across disciplines, not just have the architect come and say, well, here are my floor plans, engineer, good luck. But we want them to build an appreciation of the other disciplines' goals, constraints, and objectives, and then find ways to complement the different solutions into one unique product. In this process, we want them to adopt and adapt new collaboration and communication technologies that support them to manage their task interdependencies across time and space, because all the teams are geographically distributed. The 5th dimension is the hardest because it exposes the students to work in multicultural teams. So with that, we really want them to experience what I call a why learning interaction, where they have a chance to exercise the knowledge of what and how that they acquired in their respective disciplines. So architecture classes, engineering classes, management classes, and integrate those and learn how to work together. So the core atom of the global teamwork in P5BL education model is the AEC team. A, architecture, E, engineering, C, construction. And every year we have about 30, 40 students distributed over 5 to 7 project teams. And every team has 1 architect, 2, 3 engineers, 2 managers, and they are tasked to design university buildings of about 40,000 square feet. So like a 3-4 story high university building with the respective challenging spaces, auditoriums, meeting rooms, classrooms, and labs. And their locations are on real university campuses in challenging areas, such as earthquake, flooding, and hurricane zones. So they really have to deal with real local conditions. More than that, every team interacts with project clients, and these are themselves alumni of the global teamwork who graduated and work in industry. All the teams work for 4 months on their project and take their design through 2 project phases, concept and project development. All the students come to Stanford for a big kickoff event, an official opening session, and then for 3 days, I run a team building workshop. So we eat, work, and play from 9 in the morning until 9 in the evening. It is critical because we are all together, co-located. So teams are formed, they meet their client, they get their project, and they already have a deep dive into concept development, working together, which allows them to build a rapport. After which, they all travel back to their universities, except, of course, the Stanford students. And for 4 months, all interactions are virtual. And by the way, VDC here on the display stands for Virtual Design and Construction. So they all come back to Stanford in May for a final project presentation where they present their designs as well as reflect on their team process. And then we celebrate the end of their journey. So not only that, but what is a unique feature in this P5BL global teamwork experience is the fact that all the students have access to a growing global learning network of mentors. And every student from any university participating can interact with any mentor in any discipline. So there is no direct assignment. This is another mental model we are trying to transform, where the students are used to know there is one instructor per class, and I'm just going to ask that person. So knowledge is vast, and the students are engaged in interaction. So in this multi-layered environment, learning actually takes place in all directions through mentoring and reverse mentoring. And by the way, reverse mentoring happens when it comes to technology, since the students, as you probably well know, are the digital natives, and they are the experts, and the mentors are the learners. So with that in mind, let's rewind a bit the P5BL journey as we reflect on the importance of continuous innovation and the transformations along the way. We started in '93 with a pioneering pilot with our colleagues from School of Architecture at UC Berkeley, across the pond here in the Bay Area, since Stanford does not have an architecture department. Hardware, software, and network infrastructure technologies shaped the collaboration spaces where PBL was taking place, as well as the learning and teamwork work practices and learning practices and processes. So we moved from co-located to mobile to distributed. We moved from local to national to international. And each layer added new complexities and new challenges for innovation, as well as on the technology side, new affordances, which was very exciting. Now, just to gain a bit further appreciation, here is a picture from '93. And what you see here is, the quality of the model. We were very excited to have a wireframe 3D model, which we shared on a Unix computer over an open source desktop sharing application. You may note, I hope, this little device here, which is a telephone. Some of you may still remember these telephones with buttons. Well, millennials probably will think it is broken, since you cannot text on it. Well, more than that, I wanted the students to experience distributed teamwork from the get-go in that first pilot year. So I already organized at Stanford access to TV internet conference facilities, where each facility had 2 TV sets one showing the local side, the other the far side, the connecting side. And as you can see here, for the final project presentation in year one, the professors who acted as the clients and mentor judges were in one building, one facility, and the 3 student teams were in another facility. One very insightful data that I pulled out from our archive was the cost per hour to use these facilities, which was $600 per hour, plus you had to have an operator to help you do all this. But we were very excited, and the big rage at that time was picture-in-picture, as you can see here, the student side picture in the big video stream. So these were 2 video streams. But of course, I always want more and push the envelope. So what I did actually was to manage to connect one of our computers to this system on the student side so that the students could share their 3D building models and discuss their designs with the mentors. It was amazing. As you probably can see from these screenshots, these are from VHS videotapes from 93, 94. But it was very exciting. So fast forward today, everyone has a virtual reality computer on their smartphone, and all the students use these. And the quality and detail level of the building design models is stunning. So a great journey that continues. From a collaboration and co-creation perspective, evolution continues. From what I call one-dimensional collaboration in web conference facilities, like GoToMeeting, WebEx, Zoom, whatever your favorite web conference flavor is. And this works very well when you share one document. And we moved further into what I call a 2D collaboration space, thanks to one of our industry partners and sponsors, Nuriva company, that donated a cloud-based collaboration canvas platform that allows students to be on the same sketching canvas, transforming any physical wall. What you see here are the Stanford students sketching on the touch wall. So SPAN Nuriva transforms the wall into a touch wall, so there is no screen. And the cyber students use tablets or laptops, and everyone is on the same canvas. In this particular case, here is a team with students from Stanford, Slovenia, Denmark, DTU and Aalborg University, and Sweden, KTH. Using the SPAN technology in a subgroup meeting. What is very important is to understand that such a collaboration environment really allows the team to rapidly sketch ideas, solve problems, understand different discipline perspectives as they build common ground. And as all the team members are on the same canvas, it allows them to very quickly and fluidly co-create content in context. And what you see here is a snapshot of their canvas with their brainstorming and discussion that took about 90 minutes. And what I want to highlight here, and please observe the sheer number of artifacts in terms of sketches, images, diagrams, and the richness of content that this team actually produced in 90 minutes that allow them to make joint decisions and move forward very rapidly to produce their design in 2 weeks. And that is a huge accelerator facilitated by this cloud collaboration platform. I want to emphasize it is a 2D environment to support collaboration. Moving further, we started to use 3D virtual world environments, specifically TURF, in 2008. And since 2008, every team had a virtual collaboration space I created for them. So they owned these collaboration spaces and interacted there. It is a 3D world that allows them to get a sense of presence as they move in the space and they negotiate space. So here is a snapshot of another global team and their weekly project meeting. And by the way, the clocks on the virtual turf wall really represent the time of their weekly meeting. That was 9 p.m. California time, midnight Georgia Tech, East Coast, and 6 a.m. Central Europe time. This team had 7 participants representing 7 nationalities: US, Mexico, Poland, Sweden, China, Korea, and New Zealand. Not only did they sit around the virtual table, and by now you have been appreciating the experience of presence as you have been moving around in turf, but they also co-create their collaboration space as they add, organize, and move displays depending on which content and how much content they need to create or share. So what I want to highlight here is a critical aspect related to PBL, and that is that we see 2 types, 2 classes of artifacts. One, of course, represents all the artifacts that they share and co-create related to their design project: floor plans, sketches, models. The second artifact is actually the collaboration virtual space that evolves as their project evolves. And I want to mention here that at the end of my talk, I will share with you a reference to a book that I co-edited, where I contributed a book chapter that describes all the formalized findings and transformative impacts of virtual collaborative environments. So hang on. Moving on, I would like to highlight 3 key assets we all work with: people, space, and resources, and the respective value propositions fostered by collaborative immersive environments such as TURF, focusing on our objectives such as engagement, dynamics, space scalability, and sustainability. So let's talk a bit about the people engagement aspect. So yesterday, we heard during Daniel's keynote a question related to the fact that professors and teachers are very busy. Well, what the P5BL education model offers is a mentor network model. This really led to a disruptive innovation that reverses the student-faculty ratio we are used to, where we have one teacher and many learners in every class. And in our case, we have one learner that can create ad hoc mentor teams to address a current question. And this question is the result of the creative and challenging design that the team wants to implement. A great resource to learn and to share knowledge with our students. The second people engagement aspect is our desire to see a higher engagement of our students. So here is a snapshot of a study that we did using eye tracker data to compare attention and engagement, basically attention, looking at time on task and frequency of time on task, comparing web conference sessions and virtual or physical collaborative sessions in turf or in our interactive room. And the good news was that, and by the way, we were very happy with this result, was that in the virtual world, attention was 24% higher and longer. What I also want to highlight is a move from multitasking to engagement. More than that, it's important to note that I'm not trying to say that one technology is better than the other. What I'm trying to highlight is the importance for both the learner and the instructors to understand the matching factor between technology and the interaction and activities at hand. So web conferences are wonderful if the focus is on one document, maximum 3 documents. What we have found beyond 3 documents, attention and memory rapidly decreases and multitasking becomes a typical behavior. Why? Because if you two are talking and looking at a document that doesn't impact me really, and I don't have access to other documents we've been looking at because web conferencing allows just sharing of one document, then I will switch and I will start to look at Facebook or read my email and optimize the use of my time. On the other hand, in the virtual world, because the team members are surrounded by all the content in context, even though you two are talking about an artifact that doesn't impact me, I'm still on task looking at other correlations related to artifacts that are available. So good news and very important to learn and train the users to find the best match of technology to the interaction and activity. More than that, The virtual collaboration spaces foster the transformation from a group of people to a team. And here is yet another screenshot of a team meeting and their virtual collaboration space in Turf. But before we look at what is going on in this virtual space, I want you to listen to the following soundtrack from the kickoff of their meeting.
Happy birthday to you. Woo! Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Gabby. Dear Gabby. Happy birthday to you. Woo! Woo!
This has been the best surprise ever. I can't believe you can actually put a cake on.
Yeah, that's a virtual cake we got here.
No, that's beautiful. I mean,
I hope you like virtual chocolate.
So what do we see and what did we hear? First, if you look at this image, it's very exciting to see that the team embedded the virtual cake and the balloons poster in their virtual collaboration space. This indicates ownership. It emulates a real-world work environment. Second, what did we hear? Surprise, happiness, emotion, similar to a co-located birthday surprise party. So what is important to take away is that the virtual world offers a social construct for informal interaction, which in turn leads to group cohesion, trust, and better collaboration. Now, let's move to the second asset, which is space. And especially for teamwork and PBL, in many universities, there is a lack of space that hinders innovation, or so you may think. Especially if you aim to introduce PBL and you need to provide teams with a persistent space where the team can immerse into an environment where they are surrounded by their artifacts they co-created and shared. So rather than wait for the next building to be built on your university campus, create virtual team spaces for your teams, and they will love it. More than that, you will have a more sustainable solution. What you see here is also another key aspect, and that is the integration of our iRoom, interactive room, that you see here, where we have 6 smart boards, touch displays, where one of the displays can become the link to a Turf virtual world and expand the number of displays depending on how much content the team wants to present. Great hybrid integration between physical and virtual collaboration spaces. And we built a simple tool to calculate energy consumption and carbon emission. And what you see here is in the upper diagram, a case with 3 smart boards or 3 displays in Turf, or a case with 9 smart boards or 3 displays in Turf. The red bars represent the physical room at Stanford, and the green bars represent the virtual world. Clearly, it is a tremendous move towards a sustainable PBL environment. And again, a hybrid solution will lead to better environmentally friendly portfolios at your university. Now, moving on, what next? And Stanford for sure. One of the major directions for the past 7 years has been to leverage IoT, Internet of Things, wearable biometric and psychophysiological devices such as EEG brain sensors, heart rate variability, body movement sensors, and apply AI and machine learning to uncover cognitive demands on global learners, which until now have been invisible to us. Thanks to a grant from the National Science Foundation for our project called UNCODE, we focused on developing protocols to instrument, monitor, model the interactions in virtual settings and build analytic tools and indicators focused on engagement, vigilance, fatigue, and well-being, and feed back information to the learners so they can self-regulate. Thanks to all these sensors, we all are becoming data. Another very exciting project I launched last year, thanks to generous grants from Facebook, Oculus, Google, HTC Vive, and Microsoft Mixed Reality programs, I was able to deploy and reimagine PBL and learning interaction experiences using VR, AI, and parametric modeling to all the 12 universities that participated last year, meaning the academic year we just closed, which was amazing. So the intersection between VR, AI, and parametric modeling represent new accelerators for creativity and engagement in global teamwork. And then again, back to people, because we continue to see a growth in our vibrant global learning network that supports our philosophy that says that we together know more than I alone. And together we can do what none of us can do by ourselves. So in closing, I want to share with you key transformations, of course, many of you you are aware of, and maybe just highlight the last one that moves the learner from isolation to interconnection, hyperconnection, and most importantly, interdependence, as well as highlight the transformative impacts that offer a working P5BL education model, an evolving global teamwork IT ecosystem, and most importantly, a global learning network. A key outcome are actually the leading change agents that are the alumni of this class that go back to their universities and join companies and transform them as we speak. I also like to mention that I like to think of grandchildren I have, because many of the AEC alumni went back to their original home country and they emulated parts of the PBL education model and the IT ecosystem, transferring knowledge and technology in their geographic locations. Finally, I want to share some key lessons. First of all, change is hard. It's risky and it takes time, so give yourself a chance. And give you a bird's eye view of the P5BL life cycle I experienced firsthand and formalized a few years back. So start experimenting, fail early and often, and learn fast. And then have your first working PBL model and show how you can sustain it. And you will get support from the institution, and it will be integrated into the curriculum. And last but not least, don't forget to reinvent, because technology and knowledge evolve. So, dear friends, I encourage you to continue to reimagine learning experiences, and thank you for your attention. And as promised, here is the reference to the book I co-edited. It's in print since last year, Transforming Engineering Education, and the chapter on mixed media, mixed reality, transformative impacts on global teamwork. Thank you again very much.